Hey, you guys. Welcome to day number 20 of 21 days of prayer for your business. I am so glad that you are watching this video. I don't know if you're watching it with us live here. I don't know if you have caught this on YouTube. I have no clue if somebody sent this to you. I'm starting to second guess myself that I placed this in the 50K to Pray Facebook group. So if somebody really quick in the comments at the beginning can just reassure me that I have put this in the 50K to Pray and not my personal, that would really make me feel good. And I'm not going to have any massive squirrel moments the rest of the time. So I'm going to trust that somebody's just going to tell me that I'm on the right track and that I have placed this in the same. Yes, day 20, it's here. Okay, we are in 50K. Thank you, Cami. You're awesome. Okay, now let's move on and I can focus. I am absolutely just so thrilled that you have made it to day 20. And I don't know if you've even watched the other videos. And at this point, I don't even care if you've watched the other videos. Today's video is so much my heart and so much my mission for people to really understand with this whole series that we're doing, 21 days of prayer for your business. You know, whenever you begin to write a book or you take people through a process of focused prayer for their business, a lot of times people look at it and go, oh, what are they doing? Are they, praying for this prosperity and they're praying for this and that, and oh, they're just wanting the Lord to bless everything they do. And yeah, okay, there's nothing the matter with that, right? But it's so much more. This mission that I'm on, I hope you understand, as we've been walking through these days together, I hope it's helping you grow in your business. I hope it's helping you dream a little bit more. But the bottom line is, I hope that you've understood through this, we are beginning to embrace Jesus just in everything we do. And it's about so much more than these tangible things we're trying to obtain. So I'm so glad that you found this video. And I pray we do a little bit of housekeeping at the very beginning of our time together on every one of these videos. And we're going to start it just the same way that we do every day. And then we're going to dive in to today's topic. Because if I don't watch it, I'm totally just going to dive right in. Because I'm crazy excited about today's topic. So, you know the drill. If you've been around here the past 20 days, we are going to be discussing stuff from this book, The 21 Days of Prayer for Your Business. It's a book that I wrote this past year, and I wrote it because back last year, I brought my friends on social media, just like we're doing right now, through some videos and just some blog posts, and shared about bringing the Lord into every part of your life and which is including your business. And through the course of that, everybody kept saying, you need to turn it into a book format. So I did. It's right here, 21 Days of Prayer for Your Business. And you can get it at shop.spelloutyouinfuse.com. However, if it is not in your budget and you cannot afford this book, you need to understand that you can watch these videos and really get just as much out of it. I really do believe. Now, I love the book, and I put a lot of time and effort. My team put a lot of time and effort into this book. But I really do believe if money is a factor, I would never want you to let that keep you from going through the videos and just really applying yourself. Go grab you a notebook. Go grab you a pen, and as we discuss things and take notes, and as we share scriptures, write the scriptures down, and as I give you little things to think about or homework to do, be involved and get active. You know, what I do like about the book is I prompt you to do a lot of soul searching and digging down deep. If you've been with us through the course of it, you know the first week proved to be just a little difficult because we just dove right in, and I got all up in your business, and I started asking you a lot of questions that you probably just didn't want to answer. But it's so vital throughout this time, not just to think that this lesson or this topic or this day pertains to somebody else, but really, how does it apply to my life? Every single day when I was, these first off are things that I have walked through and am continuing to walk through. Just because I've written the book doesn't mean that I still don't deal with every single one of these topics, nor do I need to apply every one of these topics. When you get finished with this book, it doesn't even mean that you've arrived. You could start back on day one and go all the way through every day and probably gain something new, because we're always growing, we're always learning, we're always walking through different stages of life. So this really is a lifestyle that I pray that you begin to develop in your life. So with that being said, if you get behind, if you're doing this time with us, I don't want you to get so stressed out in the sense that you've got to do this 21 straight days. Now, I would love for you to, because I believe if you can get in this habit, 21 days, it kind of begins to create a habit. And I would love for this just every day diving into the word, diving into going to the scriptures and applying it to your life. I would hope that after a period of time, if you can do it for 21 days straight, it begins to bring in this habit, this lifestyle, this thing that oh wow, that was awesome, I missed that. However, if you miss a day or two here or there, don't let it stop you, okay? Do not let it stop you. These days really do build upon themselves. So just where you're at, then do take day 2. And if day 3 and day 4, you had something going on, well then when you get back, wherever you were, just pick up on that day, okay? Pinky promised me you're going to do that. All right. Well, as always, we begin our time together by reviewing. I like repetition. I like hearing something over and over and over. And if the truth be told, if you're finding this video and I'm doing a recap, I hope one of the days kind of sparks an interest and you go, you know what? I am going to go back and I am going to watch every one of those videos. Okay, so let's go through them. Day number 1, we talked all about giving God control. The very first thing that we can do to get moving in the right direction is to give God control. Lord, I've done things on my own in the past and I really want to do things differently this time. So I want to hand control over to you. I don't know what has made you watch this video or buy this book or go through these 21 days. Maybe you are at this career change in your life. Maybe you are at a point where you are not happy in your business and you're wanting to look for something different. Maybe you've had a failure in your past like I had a failure. Maybe you're not, wherever it is, the very best thing you can do is to say, Lord, I give you control. Day 2, we talked about freedom from your past. You've got a past. If you're living and breathing today, yesterday happened, and I don't know what your yesterday looked like. I don't know what your last week looked like. I don't know what your last month looked like. I don't know what your last year, what your last decade. I have no clue. I don't know the failures. I don't know the hard times. I don't know the wins. I don't know the successes. I don't know the hard life you may have lived, walked through, the words spoken over you. I have no clue what that is. But I do know that if you allow those to define you and to take hold of you and keep you from living the abundant life Christ Jesus has set out for you, you're never going to be content, which is what we're talking about today. You're never going to be happy. So day 2, we talked all about finding freedom from your past. On day number 3, we talked about how you were uniquely made. There is something special about you, whether you believe it or not. And I pray that day opens your eyes to where when we talk about that you are uniquely made, it's not just about your next door neighbor or your coworker or somebody else. It's about you. And we go there. There's not a doubt in my mind that you are here right now in 2017 for such a time as this. I know you are. And there is something specific that you are designed to do, to be. And it's not just for the benefit of you, it's for the benefit of others. So when you don't embrace your unique design, it's not just you who's missing out, other people are missing out. So we talked about that on day 3. Day number 4, we began to catch a vision. You know, catching a vision is not just for those Walt Disneys out there, those people who think, well, I'm not a visionary. Absolutely not. Vision, you might not see the end picture of where you're going, like some visionary may have, and be able to see all of, you know, these big dreams and these big ideas. But vision is seeing, and vision is sometimes seeing just one step in front of the other. You'll eventually get to that end picture, that end goal that maybe you can't see. And maybe it's a good thing that you can't see it. A lot of times when we see that end picture, we get all up in the way. But when we can just focus on taking one step at a time, and we allow the Lord to be a lamp unto our feet and a light into our path, that is vision. That is allowing Him to guide us, and He is directing our steps. It's a beautiful place to be walking in. So we talked about that on day 4. Day 5 was being intentional. You know, it's one thing to read the words in this book or to listen to what we're talking about and discussing here in these videos, but it's another thing to be intentional. You know, how many times have you heard something said or read something and you're like, oh yeah, well, I know that, I'm just not doing it. Being intentional is so important. That day we also talked about what are your values, what are your non-negotiables, and how are you being intentional with getting those into your everyday life and into your business. Because I believe when you start feeling a little off kilter there, it's because you are not getting those things that are so valuable to you in your everyday. So that was day number 5. Day number 6, we talk about always growing. You see, the day you quit growing is the day that's where you stop. And you've camped out and you've put up your tent and that's where you're at. And there's nothing beyond that if you're not growing. So I pray on day 6, you really caught this vision of, I need to constantly be growing. And it's okay. That's not saying I'm a loser and I don't have it all together. It's just saying it's good that I don't know everything. It's good that I haven't arrived. And I want to keep pushing myself. So that was on day 6. Day 7. Oh my goodness. Don't give up. That was the day. Don't give up. I tell you a story about how I really wanted to give up on February 15th of 2013. And we go there and we talk about what that looked like. That was on day 7. The day you give up is the day you give up. You have no clue what could have been right around the corner. Don't do it. That was day 7. Day 8, we talk about living a life of worship. Man, your unique design, when you embrace that, when what you've been blessed with in life, whether it's material things, your time, your gifts, your talents, you can use that in worship to God. When you use it to the benefit of others, I really do believe that is living a life of worship. It's honoring God with what He has given you. That was day number 8. Day number 9, we started talking about living a life of excellence, and it looks so different from perfectionism. Perfectionism weighs you down, and we went there on day number 10. There's a difference between the two. I believe living a life of excellence is embracing who you are with the tools and the resources that you currently have on hand, and you can't compare your season to somebody else's season. It probably looks different. So that was day number 9 and day number 10. Day number 10 was perfectionism, and hello, a lot of people thought going into day number 10, I don't deal with this. Hey, I don't deal with this. And they realized quickly, okay, maybe I do deal with this a little bit. So we talk about how perfectionism can really weigh you down. Day number 11 was all about creative problem solving. Creative problem solving is very important. You know, when you see an obstacle that comes in your way, finding a creative solution around it, many times those presents opportunities. And in my life and in my career, when I have figured out solutions to obstacles, it has created great opportunities in my life. So that was day number 11. Day number 12 was building a community, right? Please tell me that's correct. Yes, it is. Day number 12 was building a community. You know, we're better together. It's really good when there's safety in numbers. And if you feel like maybe you're just not fitting in anywhere, well, you create the community. Don't sit around and wait for somebody to invite you on in. You go out and you find a need and you fill it, because there's plenty other people out there searching, wishing somebody would come and bring them in. So you start that community. That was day number 12. Now, Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but when imperfect people get together with imperfect people, and hey, that's all of us. If you don't think you are imperfect and you think you're perfect, that's your issue, and you're not perfect. So whenever you get a bunch of imperfect people together in communities and such, you can have conflict. It happens, people. And when conflict comes to the table, that doesn't mean that it's the end, that we stop. Many of us, that's when we throw in the towel because we don't want to face conflict. But we go there and we figure out how to survive it on day number 13. Day number 14 was all about fighting for your family. You guys, we have got to fight for our families. With the same tenacity that we are fighting for our business, let's fight for our family. Every one of these topics that we're discussing in this book and in our videos together, apply those principles, the same principles, to your family. That was day number 14. Day number 15, I'm so embarrassed that I have to go back. Integrity matters. Integrity matters on day 15. You know, we got to do those things that when nobody is watching, we got to make the right decisions. We got to make the hard choices. We got to travel the path that maybe few are afraid to travel. Let's not cheat on our taxes. Let's not make questionable decisions. We go there, and I really do believe when we do that, the Lord is a shield around us. He really does protect us. Day number 16 was all about being courageous. You know, as we begin walking out these days, it's time now. As we're growing, we're learning, we're progressing. But let's not get comfortable back here on the comfort zone couch. You know, okay, I'm gonna camp out here because it's comfortable. No, we got to do some things that scare us. And we talk about that on day 16. Day 17, I mean, I can't even read the title and not just breathe in this deep sigh of relief, and it's be still. Be still. That's hard for a lot of people. It's hard for me. And there's sometimes that we just have to stop and we have to be still and we have to trust. We have to trust the Lord. If you love control like I love control, you know, many times we're just like, we're trying to fix things all the time in our own might. Walking in freedom is really walking in trusting and being still. And that was day 17. And man, I cried probably through the whole thing of it. So bear with me through that video if you haven't seen it. Day 18 is competition compliments you. Did you know that? Did you know that it's not just all about crushing the competition, you know, and it's a crown and a jewel in your crown whenever another person bites the dust and you've put them out of business? No, it's about so much more. It's about so much more. Competition should compliment you, and we go there on day 18. Day 19, yesterday, we talk about examining your experiences. And I really hope that you took some time yesterday to stop and think about all of the things that we've discussed. You know, John Maxwell is one of my most favorite authors. He always says that experience is not your best teacher. It's evaluated experience. But, you know, through this yesterday, I really wanted to take it a step further and say, yes, I agree. Experience is your best teacher. And I do agree evaluated experience is an even better teacher. But I believe when you take your experiences and your evaluated experiences to the Lord, and you're like, Lord, here's the deal. I need you to help me. And I need you to open my eyes. And I need you to give me wisdom. And I need you to give me discernment. That kicks it up to crazy level, you guys. And that's what we discussed yesterday, which then brings us to today. Day number 20, our next to last day. It takes my breath away to even let those words come out of my mouth. Our next to last day together. Day 20 is, I did not bring tissue with me because I originally thought maybe this would be an emotional day. And then I thought, it's not going to be an emotional day, but it probably will be an emotional day. And we're just going to get through it together. But success does not equal contentment. If there's anything that you've heard me say, if there's any time that you're like, I'm going to give some food to thought for what she said today, please listen. Please listen to my heart on today's topic. I think if I could sit and talk to anybody for one last time, it would be one, letting the Lord have control over everything, but then it's also that this topic right here, success, it doesn't equal contentment. You know, what does contentment mean to you? Think about it. Like, that's the first thing that I give you in the homework. If you don't have the book, go grab a notebook and go grab a pen. It's on page, I wrote over what page it is. I think it's 152. I'm a book writer, and I've written all in my book, and so I wrote all over the page number right there. That on page 152, if you have the book, I ask you in your own words, what does contentment mean to you? So take a second and think about it, what the word contentment means. And I start by saying, well, let's go and see what Webster Dictionary says about contentment. Let's look at the definition. And the first one is, well, it says contentment is the state of being happy and satisfied, the state of being content. So contentment, according to Webster's Dictionary, is the state of being happy and satisfied, the state of being content. So let's take it one step further and let's see what the definition of content is. It is a state of peaceful happiness. That's an interesting word. A state of peaceful happiness, the state of satisfaction. So that's what Webster says about contentment. But I want to take you back to what someone said about this definition of this word way before Webster ever penned that onto paper. And that was Paul in Philippians 4:12 through 13. Let's read it together. It's Philippians, if you don't have this in front of you, Philippians 4:12 through 13. He says, I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned that the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all this through him who gives me strength. We say that verse all the time, right? I can do all things through him who gives me strength. I can do all things through him who gives me strength. I guess what? I can do all things through him who gives me strength. But that is said right after he then says, I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether it's well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all of this through him who gives me strength. You know, the very beginning there where it says, I know what it is to be in need. He knows the state of peaceful happiness and the state of satisfaction when being in need. You know, I told you guys earlier in our time together our story of losing it all on day one. I told you about how we got very prideful in our business and we lost a lot of things. We lost a lot of pride, which is really good, but we lost a lot of material things. And I would have to say, at that period of time, I understood what it was like to be in a time of need. Our bank account was negative way more than it was positive. There were times that really we didn't have a clue where our next meal would come from. You know, my parents were even currently walking out during that time. My dad was in the construction business, and the building industry was tanking, and he was even in the process of losing a lot of stuff. And so there's my one squirrel moment, two squirrel moments on day 20. There is a million helicopters flying by. Oh, geez. I've done so good. It was day 20 where I get distracted. So let's let them pass. Is it loud? So I knew what it was like. I knew what it was like to be in that time of need. My parents, like I said, they couldn't even help us out a lot because they were going through a difficult time. And we really did. Like I told the story before. I remember Chick-fil-A doing this thing where if you dressed your kids like cows. You could get free chicken sandwiches. You guys, can I tell you that we dress, I've got a picture of the girls dressed up like cute little cows. And we went out and we went to like 3 different Chick-fil-A's. Not only got a free meal, but then we got free meals for that night and then the refrigerator for the next day. Like, I'm talking, we really did have this time of need. But can I tell you, that time of need nowhere compared to what the time of need Paul was talking about in this verse. Like, Paul's time of need is like very drastically different than just maybe not knowing where this meal is going to come from. I mean, he had to walk out some really difficult times, and he was able to say, I know the state of being contentment and where it lives, and it's whether well fed or whether hungry, whether in need or in want. Guys, I don't know what your time of need is. I have no clue. And I ask you that. I ask you what your time of need is, to revisit that. I've asked you even to revisit it throughout this book of what were those difficult times? What were those hard times? And it could possibly even be something that you are walking through right this second. It could be something that this morning you woke up and it was on your mind. It could have been something that kept you awake last night. Are you walking out that time of need right now? And you're searching so desperately for that contentment. When we were going through that hard time, thankfully, we had just started attending Church of the Highlands in Birmingham, Alabama. And can I tell you, it was right in the middle of a sermon series called The Pursuit of Joy. Now, I'm telling you, if you've got the book, I listed out the links in our walkout points together. If you do not have the book, at our end of our time together, I will give you those links, and I will somehow try to get it into the description of the YouTube video for you so you can go back and watch it. I need you to understand that sermon series came at a point in our life when we were walking out a hard time. And I'm telling you, it helped us more than anything else to open our eyes to where our true joy and contentment came from. And it wasn't necessarily through what that situation of losing the things, the material things, none of that defined us. We learned very quickly that our true state of satisfaction really did not come from material things. It just didn't. Through that time, it was the hardest year of our life, but it was the best year of our life. It was the scariest year of our life. I cried more tears than I've ever cried. I had some sleepless nights. But can I tell you, I've never felt Jesus so close by my side. And honestly, in a crazy weird way, we were okay. Like, we were okay with it. I'll never forget my friend Vanessa. She kept saying, Monique, like, seriously, like, you can talk to me. She pulled me, like, because she knew the situation that we were going through. And she's like, you don't have to act like it's all okay. You can talk to me. Be honest with me. I mean, I know. And I remember one day saying, I know that this absolutely makes no sense. Like, we are flat broke. But I'm just telling you, it's okay. We're okay. And I don't even know. Like, I don't even know how I could physically say that other than, or rather than, I can do all this through him who gives me strength. He was my strength during that time. And the days that it was difficult, Jeremiah would be like, oh, let's read this. Let's do this. And when Jeremiah was having a hard time, I was okay. And the Lord was giving me a little bit more strength to go, okay, Jeremiah, it's going to be okay. And we just helped each other out. Can I tell you, through that time, we found our deep satisfaction through the Lord. And can I tell you guys, if I could go back and change all of that, I would not do it. I would not do it. That was the best, worst year of our lives. And I really do believe where we're at today has taught me so much. One, it's taught me that my true fulfillment and contentment does not come from material things. I think the Lord knew that one day I would be sitting right here talking to you guys, and I would have a really good paycheck. And I would be living in plenty. And I think that for me to understand contentment in living in plenty, I had to understand contentment in living in want and need. The same Jesus who gave me peace is the same Jesus who gives me satisfaction with where I'm at today. And I'm very thankful that we went through those hard times. So what is your moment? What is your time of a need moment? And I want you to write it down, and I want you to think about it. And again, it could be something that you've gone through years previously, or it could be something you're walking through right now. But I want you to know that the same Jesus who walked by my side and gave me peace and satisfaction, contentment and joy, can also give it to you. You know, I don't know if you have grown up in church or if you've ever heard the old hymn, "It Is Well With My Soul." Have you ever heard it? It's a really old hymn. It was written in the late 1800s by Horatio Spafford. Horatio Spafford. And he wrote it in the late 1800s. And if you've heard it, I'll tell you just the first opening words. It says, "When peace like a river attendeth my way." Think about that. When peace like a river attendeth my way, but when sorrows like sea billows roll. So we've got some peace, walking through peace. We've got some walking through sorrows. "Whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well. It is well with my soul." And you know, the chorus, it keeps on going. It is well. It just keeps saying, "It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul." I don't know if you know the backstory of that song, but I'm going to tell it to you. And it really gives the song so much more deep meaning. So you see, Horatio Spafford in the late 1800s was a very prominent lawyer in Chicago. He lived, you know, probably this nice life for the time. And in the late 1870s, I think it was 1871 maybe, details right here really doesn't matter. But he had a little boy that was 2 years old that passed away. And throughout that year right through there, that was the big Chicago fire. And he had a lot of property and had invested a lot in real estate through there. And through that fire, and that year, not only did he lose his son, I think it was to scarlet fever, but he also lost a lot of material things because of the fire. And later on, I think it was a couple of years later, they were friends with D.L. Moody. And they were, as a family, going to go over to Europe and help him with a crusade that he had going on in Europe. And at the last minute, Horatio Spafford had some business dealings come up in Chicago or wherever they were. And he could not leave to go with his family over to Europe. And he said, "You know what, it's okay. You know what, it's okay. I want you to go ahead and you guys go over, his wife and his 4 daughters. I want you guys to go ahead and go over it. I'm going to finish up some business dealings right here. And I'm going to catch up with you guys. So y'all go ahead." And he sends his family on their way. And they're making the transatlantic journey over to Europe, and their ship, the boat that they're in, hits another boat, and it sinks. And his wife, he gets a telegram from his wife that says saved alone. And so the wife makes it, but his other 4 children do not make it. And he, is like, well, I have to leave here now, and I have to go get my wife. And he leaves, and he gets on a boat, and he's sailing across the Atlantic. And when they get over the place where they believe that this wreck happened, and where the boat had sank, the captain calls him because he knows that his daughters were on board, and he pulls him up and he says, we believe this is the point where your daughters pretty much are buried at sea. And that is where he wrote, when peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. I have absolutely no clue how somebody can say that, other than I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. I just don't, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. That's just the Jesus that I serve. That is finding rest for your soul, that to know that no matter what comes your way, it is well with my soul. That's the kind of God I serve. He's pretty amazing. So I lead into a little bit happier of a note on page 154. I apologize that I'm snotting all over the place. Like, I'm not apologizing for crying, but I do apologize that it's disgusting that I'm crying like this. Honestly, I did think before I hit play that I wouldn't be this quite emotional, and so I did not bring tissue with me, and that's okay. But I want us to read that verse again, okay? Let's read that verse again. Because we're going to change it up just a little bit. Paul says again in Philippians 4:12-13, I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all this through him who gives me strength. Now, so do we understand there? He said that he knows what it's like to be content in plenty. Really? Plenty? So you mean, wait, let me get this right. I understand that we need to probably go to the Lord and have him help us in those times of need and want, right? Like, okay, that makes sense to me. I need your help, Lord, a little bit. I need your peace. I need your satisfaction. I need that peaceful happiness, the contentment from you. But Monique, do you mean that I am not going to be content? I am so sorry. This is so nasty that I am like wiping my nose all over the place. It's okay. It's okay. You guys, it is life. It is life, and we're going to get through it, okay? Doggone it. And so, anyway, okay. No more squirrel moments. I know what it is like to live in plenty and find contentment. You guys, does that mean that when we get that raise, when we get that promotion, when we get that that paycheck that we always wish that we were going to have, when we get that job position that we always thought we were going to get. You mean, Monique, when we get that car, when we get that house, when we get that college degree, when we get that acceptance into that college, that Ivy League college, you mean when my kids get into this school, you mean whenever I get that new outfit, whenever I lose all that weight, you mean like all of these things, like it's not going to bring me contentment? Wait, what? I mean, I have had this bucket list vacation that I have always wanted to go on. And you mean, Monique, when I go on that bucket list vacation, that I'm not going to finally find contentment and complete happiness in life? What? No, you're not. I'm sorry. Are you upset with me? Like, please don't be mad at me. Please don't send me hate mail. But can I tell you, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I hate to be the Debbie Downer of the day, but it's not going to bring you contentment. You know, I have been on more bucket list vacations this past 3 years than I ever in my life ever thought I would go on. Seriously, you guys, like, I have pinned the pictures on Pinterest of Bora Bora, the hut over the water, the blue water, and thought, oh, to only one day be able to go there. It would be amazing. I would be content. I could die a happy person. I checked Bora Bora off last year, and it was beautiful. It was amazing, and I would tell you to put it on your bucket list. I thought it was absolutely wonderful, and I want to go there again. But you know what? It did not bring lasting, true fulfillment and contentment. You know, the company that I'm with, when I hit the very top level of this company, I'll never forget people saying, what does it feel like? Like, oh my gosh, what does it feel like? And I was like, I mean, like I did when I woke up yesterday. Like, you know, like, have you ever, when you were a kid, people would say, like Elena just turned 14. What does it feel like? Well, it feels like it did yesterday. I mean, you know, and really people would say that, like, well, I'm happy. I'm happy I hit this rank, and I'm happy I hit this milestone. But can I tell you, when I very first started the journey in February 2013, when I almost threw in the towel, when my paycheck the month before was $54, can I tell you, I had figured it out. I had figured it out. I figured out where my contentment came from. You know the story? I'd been a nurse, and I was miserable in those last couple of years. I knew that it was time for me to move on. I believe the Lord definitely put that career in my path. It really got us out of a financial bind, but I also know that there was a defining time where it was time for me to move on, and I began to feel this, like I wasn't content. You know, if maybe you were made to be a nurse and you're watching that, that's great. I wasn't, okay? My contentment, I started to feel uneasy, and I knew my time was up. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I'd prayed about this new business endeavor, and I'd spent the 21 days of prayer. And I finally decided that I was going to turn in my badge, and I'm going to move forward in this direction. And when I got on that path, can I tell you, using my gifts and my talents, I caught a God vision. I was wanting to live a life in worship to Him. I figured it out. And my paycheck was $54. The same contentment that I found that day and in that moment was the same contentment that I had the day I hit the top level in the company that I'm with. And I promise you, that is not just words that's trying to sound good. I mean it. With everything inside of me, I mean it. You know, I believe we all, you and I, we all have this hole inside of us. We all have this deep hole inside of us, this void. And we're trying desperately to fill that hole with something to make us feel whole and complete. Okay? And I don't know what that is for you. It could be things that are good. That's not necessarily bad. Success is not bad. You guys, money is not bad. It's not. But if for a second you believe that success and money and recognition and awards and cars and houses is ever for 1 second going to go in and pack in and fill that hole and that void in your life, I would be doing you a huge disservice. Why is it that so many people achieve so much? Why is it that so many people hit it big, win the lottery of life, yet we see their lives spiraling out of control fast? Why is it that we see people that have it all, we think in the world's eyes have it all together, but yet they are so dead on the inside? Well, it's because, you guys, we do have that void. And it is a void that only Jesus is meant to fill. It is. We all have been put here. We're all born with this void. And we're all searching. And we all continue to search day after day. And we're never, ever going to find it filled until we fill it with Jesus. It just is what it is. I want you to find success. I want you to go through this 21 days of prayer for your business. I want you to watch these videos. And I want you to set goals. I want you to dream big. I want you to find freedom from your past. I want you to be a creative problem solver. I want you to find a vision. I want you to be intentional. I want you to do all of those things. I want you to reach all of those milestones that you want to reach. I really do. I want you to get those promotions. I want you to find financial freedom. I even want you to go on bucket list vacations. They're fun. Vacations are fun. I want you to have all of that. But can I tell you, I would be lying to you if I sat here and looked you in the eyes and told you you're going to be satisfied. That's going to satisfy you. When you find it, when you find success in your business, man, sit back, enjoy it, because you have arrived. You haven't. Can I tell you, there have been so many days on this journey of plenty that I've had to stop and go, oh, Monique, wait, where are you finding your contentment? Even in plenty. And that was one thing that I prayed about in my 21 days that I did back in 2013 before I started this journey, was, Lord, even in my success, I've got to have you. Even if I find success. Can I tell you, I was even a little scared to find success because I didn't want it to change me. Because I knew how desperately I clinged to Jesus in my time of need. I didn't want to not cling to him in my time of plenty. It's the reason why midway through my business, I had to course correct myself and say, you know what? I want to do things a little different, and I want to go in a different direction because I so desperately have to cling so hard to Jesus through every part of even all of this success that I'm finding. It's the reason why when I get up on a stage to ever speak about my success I found in business, Jesus will come out of my mouth. I have to speak of him. It's the reason why when somebody will, a magazine, I've had magazines interview me for success, And I've told them, this is my story, and I need you to understand. I'm telling you this right here, and if you cut it out of it, I'm not going to be happy. You better make sure that Jesus gets talked about in this article. I just want you to know He will bring you fulfillment, peace, contentment in your time of plenty and in your time of want. So I ask you right here, what have you tried filling the void of life with? What is it? And it's not to like be a hand slap or to make you feel condemned in any form or fashion. But think about it. What are those things? I'll tell you some of the things I listed out in the book. I mean, I've let my contentment come from my spouse. You know, I told you the story earlier, I believe, in our time together or somewhere along the way about my husband. I mean, literally before we got married, when we were at the dating stages, I was like, I really believed that he was the one. And there was a period of time there where he had called me and said, you know, I don't feel like this is going to work out. And I was devastated. And I went and read a book by Elizabeth Elliot called Quest for Love. And I'm telling you, when I read that book, I was like, my contentment is not defined by a man. My contentment comes from Jesus. My contentment doesn't come from finding a husband. My contentment comes from Jesus. Now, there's nothing wrong with me getting married, and there's nothing wrong with me loving Jeremiah. But my contentment doesn't come from him. So there's been times that I've allowed him to fill that void. There's times that I've allowed my children to fill the void of, you know, for what, there's times of my success, awards, recognition, the success of others, material things, vacations. There's things that I've allowed to kind of give me the feel goods, you know. But ultimately, it doesn't fill the void that Jesus is meant to fill. I'll tell you one last story, and then we're going to close in prayer. Recently, I was on a flight somewhere, and I had got bumped from the coach area to first class. I got upgraded. I guess that wouldn't be bumped. That would be upgraded. I got upgraded to first class, and very rarely do we ever just go buy a first class ticket when we fly. We normally just buy a regular ticket, but there are times that we get upgraded to first class because we fly a good bit. And so that particular day, I got upgraded to first class, and I'm getting on the plane, and this gentleman that I had the amazing opportunity to sit next to on the flight. Honestly, I love people, and I'm a talker. When I get on an airplane, I usually am very excited because that is a period of time where I can get a lot accomplished when I'm on an airplane, because I can't leave that seat, and I get a lot of work done. And so I was very excited about this flight because I had a lot to do in that hour and a half, and I had been very busy with a lot, and I was at the editing. The book was finished. It was in my hand. I actually had the final edit. It was before I got it into your hands, and I had this. And what I was wanting to do is I was going to go through the book, and I was going to underline quotes and some things from each chapter that I was going to highlight, and I wanted to have some cute little graphics that were made that you could share, things of that nature, which never happened. And but on that plane, I was going to get started with it, and so I was so excited. And I put the book in my seat in front of me, and I did not put my earphones in fast enough, because usually I put my earphones in before we even take off, because that please don't think ill of me. This is going to make me look really bad, but that gives me an excuse not to talk to the person next to me. I know it's horrible. I know that's horrible for me to say, but when I get on an airplane, I don't want to chit chat. I just want to get some stuff done, people. I actually love it because I listen to worship music the whole time. It is just my peaceful, be still moment, and I just don't want to talk, okay? And so this guy comes in and he sits next to me, and before I can even get my earphones in, he says, "So, do you live in X city neighborhood in my town? And I was like, what? And that is the city, he said, was a city that is just kind of where people who have money live in our area. And he says, do you live in so and so? And I said, no. What? And then he was like, oh, well, do you live in so and so? Another place. I was like, no. And so I just keep, and then he's like, do you have any kids? Yeah. Where do they go to school? We homeschool. Okay, well then, he begins to tell me where his kids go to school and where he lives, where he's from. And it's all, very prominent places and things. And he says, are you in the medical field? No, I'm not in the medical field. I'm not in the medical field. Is your husband in the medical field? No, neither one of us are in the medical field. So we keep on this conversation, and then throughout this conversation, he begins to tell me a lot of his life story. And he's telling me a lot of his big wins, a lot of his successes, a lot of his family successes, a lot of his kids' successes. It's a lot of success. It's a lot of success. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of nice things. And my mind was just, I was wanting to go here. I was wanting to go to day 20. And for the next hour, I listen, to all of his things that he's walked through and all of his big wins. And I pick up my book in my hand, and he goes, oh, well, you know what? I'm going to let you read, and read your book. And I said, well, actually, it's a book that I just wrote. And he was like, oh, really? Well, what's it about? And I said, well, it's 21 days of prayer for your business. So I said, I'm really obsessed with business, kind of like you are. I'm all about it. I love talking business. And I said, but what's so crazy is in this book is I've really understood that I have found a lot of success in business, but it just doesn't make me happy. And so I break the book open and I go through. I'm like, oh, buddy, I listened to you for the last hour. You're about to listen to me. And for the next probably 30, 45 minutes, I go through each day and I begin to give him little snippets of each day. And then I get to today, day number 20. I couldn't wait to talk to him about it, just like I couldn't wait to talk to you about it. And I said, you know what? All of the success in the world is never going to fill a void that Jesus was meant to fill in your life. And it's not bad. All those things are not bad. They're good things. But true contentment comes from deep down in knowing Jesus. And this guy, can I tell you, like I thought he was about to start ugly crying. He goes, oh my goodness. I can't even tell you how much I needed to hear that. And for the next few minutes, he doesn't begin to tell me about his successes. He begins to tell me about his hurts. He begins to tell me about his son, that they just walked through cancer and issues. He begins to tell me his deep hurts, loneliness. And you're right, it doesn't fulfill me. So I say, hey, why don't I throw you in this Facebook group, 50K to Pray? And I hope he's watching this right now. I really do hope he's watching this. And I said, you need to get plugged in, Church of the Highlands. You go there, you need to go. Oh, but I don't know. You know what? Get plugged into any church. But hey, if you can't find one, start going to the church that we go to. You'd love it. Because let me tell you something. Jesus is where it's all at. So I tell you that. I look you in the eyes right now and tell you, have you found success? Have you? Have you found some success? But only to find it and go, something's missing. Are you spinning your wheels so hard right now, trying to find success, but you're miserable? Are you trying so desperately to fill a void with good things that aren't bad? Or maybe things that are damaging. There was a period of time, I told you guys earlier, that I really was not happy. And I would come home and I would take Ambien every single night, and I couldn't wait to turn everything off. I was feeling it was something that really was trying to shut things down. I wasn't content. Where does true contentment come from? It comes from Jesus. And let me tell you, that is what this journey is all about. That is what it's all about. Jesus came way back when to bring forgiveness to all of our sins so we could be with him forever. He came to fill that void. He came to fill that deep void in our lives. And it's very simple. It's very simple to allow him to fill it. It's just to allow him to fill it. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to go, you know what? When I get my act together, then the Lord, I will go to him. No. Don't you remember what we talked about perfectionism? You're never going to be perfect. You're not. If you're waiting to go to Jesus or to allow him to be a part of your life to the point where you've got it all together, you're going to be waiting a long time. That's the reason why he's here, because we don't have it all together. That's the way he wants us to come to him. He wants us to come to him with all of our imperfections, with all of our shortcomings, and to put it before him and go, this is what I have. I'm not perfect. I just need you. And that's when he is going, yes, that is all I want. That is all I want. I don't want your perfection. I just want you. I just want you. All the dirty places and all. I just want you. That's the kind of Jesus we serve. You know, so many times I grew up in church and I thought everything was just a list of rules of do's and don'ts. I can't do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this, don't do this, do this, do this. And you know, I began to realize it's about so much more. It's about a relationship with him. It's about walking through life with him, just like we've done the last 20 days. It's about saying, Lord, I like control, but I'm going to give you control. Lord, I have hurts. It's not being this formal, having it all together words that you say to him. It's about saying, Jesus, I need you in every aspect of my life. Be by my side. Here are my hurts. Here are my fears. Let him walk through you with the good times and the bad times. You know, those lists that I thought were the list of things you had to do, I realized our pastor said this and it was an aha moment. It's no longer that I've got to do these things. It's now that I get to do these things. I want to do these things now. That used to be this is the checklist to be a Christian. Well, now I want to do those things because it is this relationship. And every day, as I walk out my relationship with him, I grow. I mature. I don't have it all together, but I hope I'm a little bit closer to him than I was this time last year. And next year, I hope I'm a little bit closer than I was this year. I'm growing. I'm just growing. And you can too. So what does that look like? We're going to close our time in prayer today. And all I would say to you is if that's what you want, if you are striving so desperately to fill a void and you always come up lacking, I tell you, give Jesus a shot. Just give him a shot. And all that is just saying, Lord, I want you to be a part of everything I do. I want you to be a part of everything I do. I want you to walk by my side. Thank you for forgiving me of my sins. Let's pray, okay? Lord, thank you so much for my friends who are walking through this journey. Lord, for those who are at a point, they're so desperate for something else. There's this deep, deep, deep hole. And maybe they've been like me and tried filling it with so many other things to find that contentment, to find that peaceful happiness, that satisfaction. And Lord, it only comes from you. And so, Lord, I pray right now, Jesus, that whoever's watching this, I pray, Lord, that they realize that they can come to you. That they can come to you and that you would fill that void. And so, you guys, wherever you're at, watching this, I pray if that is where you're at the point that this is the life, you're tired of doing it your own way. You've got that deep hole and you want him to fill it. And it may seem crazy weird. You can just open your hands up to him as we pray this last little bit of the prayer. Lord, we hand our lives over to you. We need you. We've been searching for so long for something to fill the void in our lives. And Lord, we're worn out and we're tired. We're exhausted. We've been thinking so many things would fill it. Success, awards, money, things, relationships. Jesus, we just want to give you a shot. Can you come in, fill that void that we've been so desperately trying to fill with someone other than you? Lord, forgive us of our sins, Lord. Forgive us for doing it our own way, for wanting to take our own path. We give you control. We give you control over every aspect of our lives. Be with my friends, Jesus, as they go about their day, their next week, their next month. Be with them, Lord. Be that peace and contentment that only you can give. We can do all of this through you who gives us strength, Lord. That we can say, it is well with my soul, in plenty and in want. It is well with my soul because my contentment and my peace is found in you. I love you, Jesus. I thank you for my friends again. I thank you that they are being consistent and walking this journey. I pray, Lord, that you would continue to give them divine wisdom and revelation. Connect them with others, Lord, who can walk out this journey with them. In your name, amen. Well, I love you guys. I love you so much. And it really is true. I hope you find success in so many ways. But the biggest success of all is going to be letting Jesus just walk through this journey with you. So I love you. And I say in the book, let's do the walkout points. Let's do the walkout points. On page 157, I say, what are the things that steal your peace and joy? What are the things that make you happy? Will you write those out in the notes section provided for today's topic? This isn't a trick question. Enjoying earthly things is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Not at all. So write it out. Think about those things that you like. Develop a game plan to eliminate stressors in your life. Do financial struggles steal your peace? So let's talk about what steals your peace. How can you work to kick debt, like your financial issues, to the curb? Are you miserable in your current career? Is it possible to change paths? How can you add more of what makes you happy to your daily life? Spend some time thinking on that and writing. How can you bless others? What are ways that you can give back? Start where you currently are at and apply these principles to your daily life. And then finally, I give you, and there's no way that I can list all of these out, but it's in the book here, the sermon series for the pursuit of joy. If you're struggling in this area, I challenge you. That sermon series was a game changer for our lives, and I pray that you go back and you watch it. If you're watching this via YouTube, I will put those links in the description for you to go back and watch. Finally, memorize and meditate on Philippians 4:12 through 13. And last but not least, I've asked you, the link wasn't working this morning, but Jeremiah's hopefully getting it up and working. The youinfuse.com/new start. I write it in the book. We would love to hear from you. If you really have felt like throughout any time of this series that, okay, I really am wanting to give the Lord a shot here, and I've really never allowed him to just walk through life with me. It's all been about me, but I'm really wanting the Lord to have control. Then email us there, share a little bit of your story with us. We want to send you a little something back via email just to keep you moving in the right direction. So fill out that information, and I cannot wait to see you back here tomorrow for day 21. Day 21, it's okay. We're not going to be sad. It's actually going to be really good. So be here tomorrow. I love you guys more than you would ever know. So see you back here tomorrow. Bye.